Defending state champs Westside hosting Elkhorn South in a battle of the undefeateds. Out to Phelps Field, the Storm no doubt with revenge on their minds after losing 56-zip to the Warriors in the state championship last year. Westside going to be a tough stop, averaging 44.5 points per game. Halfway through the first quarter, quarterback Madden Riggs with the downfield heave. Former Athlete of the Week Landon Tate comes down with the ball and flips the field for the Storm. Elkhorn South however can't get any points out of this drive. Second quarter, Riggs looking over the top, but to the wrong jersey. Linebacker Quinton Warren intercepts it, takes it in for the first touchdown of the game. Warriors up 10-0. Later in the second quarter, quarterback Braylon Warren pump fakes, then dumps it off to running back Tay Jenkins. The sophomore rips through the Storm, and it's all gas, no breaks from there. 76 yards to the house, 17-0 Warriors. Elkhorn South avoids the shutout with a field goal in the second half. However, Westside stays in control, winning 45-3.